Hi and welcome to today's video by Study Unifies. Today's video is part of a series called Enrich Your Sentence Variety. In previous videos, we have talked about how to construct simple, compound and complex sentences. Today, we'll be talking about some non-essential structures before and after the subject, which explain the subject or describe it. The first such structure is the appositive. Appositives are short phrases, usually in the form of a noun phrase, that follow the subject and describe it. Look at the first example. My sister, an experienced teacher, is applying for a teaching job in New York. Here, the phrase an experienced teacher is the appositive. Note, it is separated from the main clause by commas on both sides. This is because if it is removed, the sentence does not lose any of its context. The meaning of the sentence as a whole does not change. It just loses a short description. So whenever you are using a restrictive appositive like this, make sure you have only commas on both sides or even dashes or hyphens on both sides. Look at the second example. My friend, a skilled artist, created this beautiful painting. Here, the appositive is a skilled artist. A skilled artist is a phrase that describes the subject, my friend. My friend is a skilled artist. Add appositives like this to make your sentence variety even richer and demonstrate, especially to examiners in tests like IELTS, TOEFL or PTE, that you're comfortable using a variety of structures. An appositive can also be added before the sentence. The whole structure of the examples that you see on the display are appositive, comma, and then the SVO of the main clause or sentence. Let's look at the first example. A skilled footballer, Messi plays for Inter Miami. Here, a skilled footballer is the appositive phrase. It describes the subject Messi. So, appositives have a second location, that is, before the subject, but separated from the SVO, the subject verb object, by a comma. Look at the second example. Irvine is described as a master plan city. The main clause here is Irvine is located in California. A master plan city basically describes the subject, Irvine. So, use appositives before or after the subject. Be careful with your punctuation. Add these appositives to your range of writing skills to demonstrate that you're comfortable with using such non-essential structures. Another non-essential phrase you can add around the subject is the prepositional phrase. The prepositional phrase comes before the subject. It is separated from the main clause, the SVO, again by a comma. Look at the first example. In the afternoon, I will probably sleep. This kind of prepositional phrase also adds richness and variety to your writing. Another non-essential structure that can be used around the subject is the prepositional phrase. The prepositional phrase usually precedes the subject when it is non-essential. Look at the first example. In the afternoon, I will probably sleep. The prepositional phrase in the afternoon comes before the subject I. It precedes it, but it is separated from the main clause by a comma. Look at the second example. At the restaurant, he ordered a steak. At the restaurant is a prepositional phrase because it is started off by the preposition at. Again, this comes before the subject and it is separated from the subject by a comma. Use prepositional phrases like these before the subject to add variety and richness to your writing. Yet another non-essential structure that can be added before the subject is the participial phrases. There are two kinds of participial, as you very well know. Verb 3, the past participle, and verb 4, the present participle. First, let's look at verb 4, that is the ing verb. First, let's look at the participial phrase with verb 4, that is the ing verb. Let's see the first example. Playing on the beach, the children found a rusted toy. Here, the main clause is, the children found a rusted toy. The subject is the children. Here, the children were playing on the beach, and thus this participial phrase modifies the subject, the children. Now let's look at the participial phrase itself. It starts off with a verb for, the present participle, and then it is followed by a prepositional phrase on the beach. This is the typical structure of participial phrases. Look at the second example. Going through the essay, the teacher was surprised by the ideas of the student. The teacher here was going through the essay, and thus this participial phrase too modifies the subject, the teacher. Add participial phrases using verb for to get more richness and variety in your writing. This is the second kind of participial phrase. This time we are using verb 3 or the past participle. Let's look at the first example. Played by the indigenous people of Australia, the didgeridoo is an exceptional instrument. Here the subject of the independent clause is, the didgeridoo is an exceptional instrument. The participial phrase, played by the indigenous people of Australia, modifies the subject, the didgeridoo. After all, the didgeridoo is played by the indigenous people of Australia. Here, the participial phrase begins with the past participle played. Look at the second example. Completed in 2 years, an associate degree is not the same as a bachelor's degree. Here the subject of the independent clause is an associate degree. It is modified, explained or described by the participial phrase completed in 2 years, because after all, an associate degree is completed in 2 years. Again, this participial phrase is initiated by a verb 3, the past participle. Use phrases like these to add more variety, richness, and also variedness to your writing. Thanks for watching this video. For more insightful videos like this about increasing your sentence variety, stay tuned to our channel. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos about English proficiency tests like IELTS, PTE, and TOEFL, and also study abroad in various countries. To get your plans to study abroad on track, register at studyunifees.io.